Hello again. I thought I'd make a little video with a bit of a drift roadmap, following up the video I'd made previously, which was sort of just where I was at, introducing I guess the Forester and the 31. So pretty much the 31, I've gone and done a skid pan day in it just last weekend, which was hosted by Free Flow, which was like a really good event. It was sort of cool to go back to the roots of it all. Driving a non-turbo car and little issues with, I suppose, teething of the car. Pretty insightful. Like, it's sort of easy because I guess I know the chassis pretty well by this point. So I could sort of walk away and already come up with a list pretty simply of what it needed. Like a little bit more caster, a few little steering mods to do. But yeah, it was really cool, and it was great because I got to see Evan there with my old wagon, which is cool to see it alive again. He looks awesome, like he's done a really good job with that. But yeah, so it was quite good sort of, I guess, come back to it all. Pretty timid event, but no, it was a lot of fun. So pretty much what I've taken from that event, obviously the steering things, which are pretty easy due to Avenue service up in New South Wales. Knows how to make the knuckles to make those things steer themselves. Which then comes the other thing, like the car does have 411s, it is just non-turbo 5-speed factory 30 box, so give that a few minutes more, I reckon, until it's gone. But basically that's where we start off. So I think the first thing is going to be having to put like a turbo on it. The main reason for that, NA is awesome. The guys that drive it, I appreciate it a lot more now because it is a handful, it is a lot of work. But I've just found, I think for the consistency and reliability, I want to say, I would rather run like a low boost sort of like 5 PSI setup. The idea is, no internals of the engine, keep it like on the cheap side, like it's all about the money thing, where the car can still be very conservative to run, but by the same token, like just give it that little bit more pepper, which they sort of just need. The NA30s, I got to drive a mate's ute, which like an AU, and even just the difference in torque between that and the 31 was pretty noticeable. So I'm thinking just a low boost, like 5 pound setup. I want to make the manifold myself. I'm thinking just a basic sort of steam pipe log manifold. With the price of all the VL turbo stuff now, I think it's the way to go. And then basic sort of thing, use tune, leave it on 98, and just, I reckon that'll be all it needs to make it reliable. It was a little bit patchy in some bits where I didn't really want to have to clutch kick the crap out of the car to keep it going, just because I'd rather the gearbox stay in the car. Yeah, so from that, that pretty much moves into the next thing, which is getting a cage, which, there's a lot of options available. Some of the stuff like Bogger's doing is pretty cool. Like Toby sent me some info on it, and I've seen how they're scanning them and they can pretty much build them off a CNC, which, is pretty bloody cool. But that is the go, because, I'm going to have to then get into doing tandems, because that's where I have the most fun. So obviously we need a half cage for that. Like, there's no debate around it. Which then, between the low boost and between the cage, I think that's it. Like, if it comes to the gearbox thing, try and find something that's economical, as opposed to throwing 40-year-old gearboxes in it every time. Try and figure out something that doesn't cost too much. At the end of the day, can take a little bit more abuse. But yeah, like, the goal with this car really is just fun. So doing that series, doing days with mates, like, it was great to have like a mate go and do his first day. That was a lot of fun for me, helping out as well. But just simplicity. Have a nice like weekend car as well. But just be able to rock up to the track and not have to worry about going through hundreds and hundreds of dollars of tyres and fuel. I think I went through not even half a tank last weekend, and heaps of laps out of the car, so that was really cool. So that is the goal: fun and conservative fun as well, and not go down the rabbit hole, learn the mistakes from the last one, which then sort of leads to not learning from the mistake. So Then we have the Forester. So there's a lot of planning involved in this. The first noticeable thing would be the rear end. I'm on my third drive shaft now, and that's from very light sort of work. And I know there is options for like different shafts and running like an R180, because I believe it's an R160 in them. Very small diff, so if it wasn't the shafts, it would be something else. So luckily I got to go talk to Flash Motorsport, Gordon over there, who's an absolute wizard. I'll chuck his Instagram on here now. He gave me a lot of pointers in, I suppose, the right way to do it. This is also going to be a massive learning experience. So again, the biggest part with this car is learning, doing the things right, that I did wrong in my first car, but then also just pushing myself. So like, fabrication wise, like pushing a little bit harder than just like intercooler piping and exhaust and stuff. It is something I've always wanted to do more of, so it's sort of quite a good baseline for it, because it's a soccer mum car at the end of the day. But it is going to be cool. Like, that's really why I'm doing it. I know it's pretty silly. There's a lot better ways to build a car and go drifting. But like, I've always wanted a Forester as a drift car since I had one as my first car. So I'm going to go and, conduct a lot of pain and suffering to myself in the process, but it'll be good and I'll learn a lot. So at the moment the car is like, it is turbo, but it's also auto. That was part of the sort of criteria for the car because it was a cost thing. So getting a like turbo 5-speed, for example, the money starts getting quite high, where I pick this up for quite a good price. So from that sort of leads into this other whole thing of the auto. So the way that I've sort of looked at it is to go and get a 6-speed gearbox out of STI Liberty is pretty safe. Just with the build of the box, it's a lot stronger. It's going to tolerate a bit more abuse. So that is, the way that's going to go. 6-speed. So that's not too bad. The rear-wheel drive part of it, that's easier. It gets easier with manuals. The auto was fun to do. It was a good learning experience, but it was also, that was the only reason I did it, because it's not going to stay auto by any chance. Which I suppose then that goes to the next thing. We've got the gearbox right, we've sort of got the rear end, we've got a plan, which I'm not going to go into yet because there's still a fair bit of planning involved in what to do, but it is going to be a big project. So then we have the old 2.5 litre versus 2 litre, no replacement for displacement, but reliability would be ideal. The goal with the car is like, just from, I guess, what I've learnt, 200 to 150 kilowatts. I think torque is fine, that's achievable, which then opens up this sort of can of worms where obviously an EJ is not the best motor for March. There's a lot better ways to power a drift car, but it will be Seek, and at the end of the day I'm going to do this because I just reckon they are the best sounding engine. So yeah, bit painful. Like if I grabbed the motor from that and put it in that, I'd be right, but that makes too much sense. So that opens up this whole thing where the 2.5 versus the 2 litre. I know you can get long motors brand new, which they've got a lot more reinforcement internally, because obviously need it to be reliable. I don't want to be like spinning bearings every event. I know oil starvation is a big thing, but that's where I need to get a bit more info. So from that is pretty much how to EJ. I've got a bit of information from a few people, which has been great, but I still need to find out some more stuff and talk to the right people. But I think we can build it pretty minimally, and still achieve that sort of figure, which I think is more than enough for what the car's going to do, which is just, you know, comp driving. So love comp driving, it was sick, learnt so much about the car and my own driving, and still have a long way to go with where I would, you know, like to be. Need to stop getting all these second place things and get one first place, that'd be great. But yeah, I feel like this amount of power is fine for comp level. It's more than some guys have that do a lot better. But that's the goal with the car. So then from that, you know, it's the same thing like cage and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, so that opens up the next part, which is steering. So I've done a little bit of testing with it, but it also is very hard to know at this point. I'm just going to leave it standard for now. Obviously there will need to be some adjustments made, but I'm not going to go crazy on the front end when I don't even know if it's going to work. But that will be something that adapts, and I think it's that thing with even driving the Skyline now with, you know, just an S13 front, standard knuckles, everything. I can sort of feel exactly what the car needs just from, I guess, experience. So I'm hoping that I can carry that knowledge into the Forester and just sort of know that, you know, I need a little bit more caster and toe out, but then I'll need the knuckles to roll over quicker or whatever it is. I don't know. That will be handled by someone else because I don't speak Ackerman and stuff like that. So that's sort of the plan at the moment. Like the 31 is not far off being a car that can be used on track days, no worries. I do want to do definitely low boost setup, low boost, low cost setup as well, just because its drivability is all I'm after. Like I do still want to have fun without, like, yeah, destroying gearboxes, as I said. So the Forester is pretty much at a point now where it's just gathering information and dust, I suppose, but I've got a lot of the info I need. There's a few little things before I guess the work can start. But yeah, so that's pretty much where we're at. I think at the moment, like, I'm not going to shoot for another track day until probably March. I think there's an intermediate day, which gives a bit of time. It should be enough time to at least throw a low boost setup in it. Cage I won't worry about for now. But yeah, so I'm pretty keen. Like, I'm going to try and really up my game with making videos and documenting all of this stuff because it has been well received previously. But I think it'll be cool. It's good, I think, to have a plan with it all as opposed to just sort of going aimlessly. But yeah, sorry if you had to try and read my handwriting. I should have been a doctor. Other than the knowledge thing, I would have got the handwriting thing right. So anyway, thanks for watching, appreciate it. I'll see you next time.